Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? Alright, so I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys a quick, just kind of an overview of basically some Colosseum teams that I'm using to counter other teams. So, in the case of a team like this, where you have now, and again, I'll point it out, you got Tracker, Witch Doll, Rose Knight, Demon Slayer, and Lore Weaver. Again, these are really popular teams that people are using. Now, in this particular case, I'm using Rose Knight, Sea Squire, Black Crow, Demon Slayer, and then I'm using a Lore Weaver. Right now, this is how I'm getting away with countering this team. I wouldn't say this works all the time, because if the tier of the team is high enough, it won't work, but the idea is that you want to entrap that, what you basically want to do right away is you basically want to entrap the Demon Slayer. Like, if you don't, it causes a lot of problems. But essentially, if you can entrap it, the rest is pretty much, easier said than done. Now, obviously, when it's at full legendary tier, I don't know if this is still going to apply, but I just wanted to go ahead and point that out because that is currently a team setup that I'm using to counter that team right now. Of course, I think it'll change depending on the tier of the heroes and such, but that is currently working out for me. I mean, again, this is the exact same team, and as you can tell, the exact same team. Nothing's changed, but watch what happens. See, it comes out as victory. So I'm assuming, and I'm not going to say this is for sure, but I am assuming that this team lineup here will work well against that team. And that seems to be how I'm getting down into the Colosseum ranking, down to like really small amounts, because a lot of people in my kingdom are doing that to counter. This is just currently the way I'm countering that team. Now, of course, if you guys want to know more about countering teams of specific types, again, maybe we'll do kind of a video series of just different types of teams that are seeming to work under the current constellation, which is Beauty's Oriole, which gives magic attack up 15 and max HP by 10. We'll have bow wielding a human, which is 35 and defense 35 soon enough. And again, this will change here in 3 days, but for now, this is currently and this is again, if anybody's wondering what team am I using for a defense team, that is currently the team that I'm using that works. Okay. Anyway, so for this team in particular, all right. Again, it's an interesting kind of team because if you watch what happens. Again, I know this team's probably not going to work, but we'll go ahead and we'll watch and see what actually happens. But as far as the Colosseum is concerned, like, you're gonna see that like right away. What should happen is that he'll pulp his ultimate, as you can tell, but it should be able to entrap that Demon Slayer like before, which is good, right? We want to see that, and then we got the heal. Basically, I mean, what I've noticed is if you set a Demon Slayer while they've got a Demon Slayer in the team, I'm not entirely sure why this is, but it kind of like forces the Demon Slayer to get entrapped by the Rose Knight, which seems to be working for this particular strategy. And again, it's incredibly, like, look at that. I mean, on a hair of health, and yet somehow we were still able to ultimate. And I don't know how we get that lucky. I mean, I almost want to say it's more lucky than it is anything else. But as you can tell, we end up winning against this team as well. And again, that's just, I don't know, it's just, there's some Demon Slayer and Tracker, and this is YOLO. So in case anyone was wondering, how do you actually compete against that team, now you guys know. So it is a Tracker, Demon Slayer, Rose Knight, Lore Weaver, Black Crow mix. This is currently the team that is working, and again, like I said, I was trying to remember what it was, but yeah, lo and behold, so there we go, Colosseum 1. And again, I don't know. We'll talk more about Colosseum, guys. Again, there's a lot to the Colosseum, but for the most part, you guys, if you really want to know more about like the little bitty things about how to get down in the Colosseum and actually how to get down there, and get down there like low enough, right? Part of the way I know what team to use is actually kind of comes from experience. Like, I want to say if you guys really want to learn, you really have to spend like maybe hundreds and hundreds of, well, just simply put, just playing Colosseum a lot. And it helps to have your heroes at gold. It really does. I mean, I can just give you some idea. You know, like, now I'm at rank 1. So, you know, rank number 1 in Colo. Yeah, boy. But yeah, no, in all seriousness though, what you want to do though is you want to get the Colo ranking right up there with whatever you're going up against. So in this case, we're gonna go with our team that we used to avoid well, getting hit back down, hopefully. So that'll hopefully keep us there for a little while, because well, yeah, we'll see if we'll see. And of course, you know, this is damn too good. In case anyone's wondering, yes, he has a gold team. But again, you know, this is the counter. In case anyone's wondering, this is how you counter that. But you know, and again, you know, we can rewatch it, you know, if you'd like. But again, yeah, this is just kind of how I go about doing it. I mean, it works, you know. But anyway, yeah. But on the topic of actual goes, right? Like, how do I know what to use? Again, part of the reason why, you know, when it comes to Colosseum, like, how do you know to actually use what certain heroes? It really boils down to actually understanding what exactly their heroes are doing. Like, in terms of, like, both, like, for example, right, if it's doing magic damage and it's doing stun, those are things that you need to consider when you actually put your lineups together. Because those little things like magic defense up by 300, these little things are going to end up actually impacting how the team's going to perform. As well as the level of the hero, the actual, you know, what it actually has on will have a small but certainly an impact. And also the tier, which is, you know, is it legendary or not? Those are all major factors, including its level. And then, of course, you know, along with all of that, it's actually the abilities themselves that you have to consider. So, you know, in the case of, like, Black Crow happens to do a lot of physical damage. And that's mostly because of, you know, the fact that she's doing medium area, but she hits her enemies 3 times. So you can take, like, 2,140 and take that pi 3, which is a lot of damage, including the fact that she increases that attack weapon 62, which basically increases it overall. And then she also drops defense, and she does physical damage, and she inflicts vulnerability, which is part of the reason why she does so well. You know, but again, the little things like that, you want to compare that and then make use of it in the Colosseum. Now, obviously, yes, I do have some pay to win, you know, heroes to actually help compete a little bit. Yeah, they help some, but I've often found that you can get away with doing a lot of this Colosseum stuff with just free-to-play heroes, really. You really don't need to spend too much into a lot of Colosseum heroes if you don't want to. Because one way or another, you actually can, if you try hard enough, you'll actually eventually figure out a combination that works. Like, for example, you know, Watcher, which again is kind of a play-to-play monster, but technically is free-to-play. You know, very few people realize that he's actually doing direct damage. But he also, you know, heals himself. But he also does vulnerable, just like Black Crow does. And because he's able to lock his enemies in place and does large area damage, assuming that you got Watcher all the way maxed, you can actually use that in tandem with abilities that do damage over time, like, for example, you could use Death Archer. The benefit of Death Archer is that you're able to both increase the attack, but, you know, again, these are little things. So, like, here, in the case, if Kethis dies, when anyone ever, you know, like, ever actually dies in battle, she'll actually increase her damage, like, as soon as somebody dies. So, like, inflicting poison for 4 seconds, for example, this ability does 908 damage every 0.4 seconds, which is really, really good for 4 seconds. Like, if you get 0.4 seconds of 908 damage, like, that stuff adds up. Now, obviously, I haven't gotten her at Legendary yet, but assuming that you can use her on the right team, it would work great for teams where you're able to stun. Now, like, in the case of, like, Child of Light, You know, again, he's a stun, but also he also happens to increase. He decreases the magic defense, and then he increases SDR for himself. But interestingly enough, you know, he has a stun ability, which is part of the reason why I was using Child of Light. They're like, not every single hero in the game is like really bad. Even like Songstress of the Sea, which I think is, you know, pretty bad on her own, but used in certain circumstances, she may not actually be that bad. Now I have yet to find a use for her, but I believe there are certain teams that she can actually use her in that would actually perform pretty well. But for the most part, you know, she's an army attack hero. Yeah, it does help to know what heroes are better, but you know, again, having that said, guys, you know, if you study the teams well enough, then you can get down into the Colosseum and become #1. But without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Maybe we'll get more in depth with the stuff down the road, and I'll see you guys next time.